Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om Ramaya Ramabhadraya Ramachandraya Vedhase Raghunathaya Nathaya Sitaya Pataye Namaha Kujantam Rama Rameti Madhuraksharam Aruhya Kavita Shakham Vande Devāścha kratavaśchaiva kratūnāṃ phalamēva ca yāni kṛtyāni lōkēṣu sarveshu paramah prabhuḥ. Yesterday we have already explained it. Brahmarpanam Brahma Havihi. That Gita verse is there. This verse is an echo of that Gita verse. Doesn't look like that, but it is the same. You see, there are three words, yajna, yaga, and kratu. Yajna can be a ritual, need not be a ritual also. An act which is entirely selfless is called yajna. Okay? And Sri Krishna uses that word yajna in that verse. So, yajñārthāt karmanonyatra lokoyam karma bandhanaha. So whatever action you undertake, if it is entirely selfless, it won't bind you. But any other action which has a motive, a selfish motive. Selfish motive means you need not take it as such a bad word or any such thing. So that action originates from that space, thought-created space of me and mine. I was talking about that space which is entirely a product of thought, and that space is me and mine. And any action originating from that space or from that thought of me and mine is not yajna, it binds. And you rise above that and go into a space in which there is no me and mine. That is the egoless consciousness. And any action originating from that space is yajna. And that yajna won't bind you. Any action, any general word it is. In fact, yajño vai Vishnu. Vishnu, the Lord, is indeed same as the yajna. In every entirely selfless act, the God manifests. That's why the other day I was saying the truth is found in living. It is not found in some place you go there and find it, or in some book you find it, or something happens in your head and you find it. No. Truth is found in living. As you live, in that living, you discover the truth. Anyway, so that is yajna. Then yaga is, so yajna is a very, very wide word with a very specific meaning. Then yaga is a ritual in which an oblation is offered in the fire. That is the yaga. Yaga is defined as devatodeshena dravyatyago yagaha. Take the word tyagaha, remove tha, that becomes yaga. And therefore, when you take an oblation and put it in the fire as an offering to a given devata, any devata, devatas are many, to any devata, you make it an offering as an oblation in the fire, that becomes yaga. Okay? Like Agneya Swaha, you offer a drop of ghee into the fire, that becomes yaga. And then kratu, yaga only, but it is very elaborate ritual, 5 days, 10 days, that kind of elaborate ritual, which will have many yagas in any given day. That is kratu. Okay, that is the word kratu. Then in kratu, in an elaborate Vedic ritual, there will be many devatas. And so yajño vai Vishnu, you have seen. So the Bhagavan, who is in the solar orb, that is the cosmic power, That is the Bhagavan, cosmic life. And when you perform a ritual, that is an expression of the cosmic life in you. The same cosmic life is in you. Suppose you take a drop of sea water, water from the ocean, one drop. So it is said that the Sindhu is in Bindu. The sea is in the drop. Because what all characteristics of sea are you can think of, they can all be found in the drop. So similarly, the cosmic life is in you. Because there is life in you, however conditioned or restricted it may be, but still life is life, and the cosmic life is present in you. Like the electricity of the power plant is present in the bulb, like that. Therefore, so that cosmic power, which is Hiranyagarbha, which is the creator God, is expressing through you in the form of a ritual. Therefore, wherever there is a ritual, the cosmic person is expressing in the form of that ritual, kratavaśha. And what about the devatas? Because in the ritual you offer oblations to the devatas, Indra, Varuna, etc. They are all like so many limbs of that cosmic person. Therefore, that cosmic person alone is present as a devaha. Then what about the phalam? Phalam is a happiness. Happiness is the phalam. And that happiness is also an expression of that cosmic person, the God. Kratūnāṃ phalamēva. Then whatever actions, not only the rituals, but all kinds of actions happen in this world. Some people will be running, some will be walking. Everybody is not doing a ritual all the time. Therefore, first the ritual is mentioned because it has some special status in the Vedic scheme. But not only the ritual, whatever be the activity that you find in all kinds of life forms, a dog running, or a scholar giving a lecture, whatever be the activity, in that activity, the same cosmic life is expressing itself. Yāni kṛtyāni lōkēṣu sarveshu. Among all human beings, loka is a human being. Not only rituals, among all human beings, whatever activity is happening. So in that activity, the expression of the cosmic life you can see. Suppose somebody is abusing you. To abuse, you need cosmic life, the power of life you need, to abuse. A cadaver cannot abuse. Only a living person can abuse. And therefore, in the form of that abuse, life is manifesting. And so when you see that, you need not get hurt. Because it is the life. Because of the life alone, you are able to hear. And because of the life alone, he is able to talk all nonsense. So the nonsense part you put aside, and it is the life. Yāni, whatever activity you think of in every human being, in the form of that activity, only the Lord is expressing himself. Okay? That is the verse. And therefore, the Lord is supreme. Why supreme? Paramaha, prabhuḥ. He is the supreme Lord because he is the cosmic power which commands and controls all activities of all human beings in this world. Prabhuḥ. Then supreme. What is the supreme? It rises above the name and form. Somebody is praising, that is life. Somebody is abusing somebody else, that is also life. Somebody is running, that is life. Somebody is sleeping, or lying down, that is also life. You stand up, that is life. You sit, that is life. Therefore, what all circumstances, the names and forms are there, the cosmic life transcends all of them. It is transcendental. Even while expressing in all the movements of all the life forms or all the human beings, still it is not contaminated by the good and evil of those actions. In that sense, it is transcendental. Paramaha. Okay? Let us say that. Now you understand how it is the echo of that Brahmarpanam verse. vēdāścha kratavaśchaiva kratūnāṃ phalamēva ca yāni kṛtyāni lōkēṣu sarvēṣu paramah prabhuḥ. That completes the Aditya Hṛdaya stotram. Now begins some phalaśrutiḥ. Compared with the size of the stotram, phalaśrutiḥ seems to be reasonably long. But here we should not forget that this is in the middle of the epic where the story is moving forward. Therefore, it is not only phalaśrutiḥ, it takes the story forward. First today we have talked of the story where Rama was very disappointed, very distressed, and he has to now face the mighty Ravana in the battle, and he has to conquer, then only he will be able to save the life of his beloved Sita. So that was the story, and that story moves forward. Agastya Maharshi arrived to encourage Rama so that Rama will not become a victim of depression or disheartened attitude. So that was the story, and so that part of the story is taken forward and concluded. The canto will come to an end, and also the phalaśrutiḥ is mentioned. So that is the job left in the remaining 7 verses. Okay? Next verse. Ena māpatsu kṛchChrēṣu kāntārēṣu bhayēṣu ca kīrtayan puruṣaḥ kaśchinnāvaśīdati rāghava. I'll come to it. Here is a doubt. I said any number of times that you stand before the rising sun and pray with the Gayatri mantra. So there are 3 possibilities. One is just chant the Gayatri mantra Om Bhurbhuvasvaha, that is Yajurveda. Om Bhurbhuvasvaha, that is Rigveda. U makes it Yajurveda, Suvaha, and drop the U, it becomes Rigveda. Both are valid. You go by the Rigveda thing, but from the childhood, if you are a student of Yajurveda, then stay with the Yajurveda thing. Okay? Tattvavidanandaji. That is, with that mantra, you pray to the rising sun. That is one possibility. Then there is Gayatri Pranayama mantra. Om Bhuho, Om Bhuvaha, Om Suvaha, Om Mahaha. That is from Khelakanda, so you may drop it. I am not recommending it, I am recommending the first one. Okay. Then there is a third option. Gayatri Shiro Mantraha, O Apo Jyoti Raso Mrutam Brahma Bhurbhuvassuvarom. That is also from the Khilakanda. Therefore, drop that also. Just hold on to the Gayatri Mantra. So one question is answered. And then okay, these are Vedanta questions. They will be relevant in tomorrow morning class. Now here is a question. So it is about Nimitta Karana and Upadana Karana. Okay. You see, you dream. Okay. In the dream, you create a world out of yourself. Okay. And what is the upadana for the dream world? Your mind. And what is the nimitta? Nimitta is always chetana. What is the nimitta? Your consciousness. You are the conscious being. Therefore, that consciousness is the nimitta karana. And mind alone moves in the form of dream. Therefore, mind is the upadana karana. Now, that is the person, individual person. Now blow it up to the cosmic person. So cosmic person creates the world out of his mind, which is the upadana karana. And he fills the world with his consciousness. Therefore, he is the nimitta karana. Okay, that way. Go to the Brahma level. Brahma associated with Aditi, the Maya Shakti, is the cause of the universe. Okay, Brahma in itself is not the cause of the universe. So in that Brahma with Maya Shakti is the Upadana of the creation and Brahma is the Nimitta. Very simple. Whatever is the insentient element is there, that is the Upadana. And the sentient element is there, that is the Nimitta. Now the insentient and the sentient, are they one or are they separate? If they are separate, that is Advaita. They are one, that is Advaita. If both are one, then which is that one? Is it the insentient one? The one in which the sentient merges? That is called Jada-Advaita. Jada-Advaita. Insentient Advaita. Okay? Sankhyas, they subscribe to Jada-Advaita. Pradhana is the one. Okay? And modern cosmologists are also Jada-Advaita people. Because for them, the Big Bang, that Vailam or Yalam, Yalam. I said Vailam, but it has to be pronounced as Ilam, not Vailam. Yalam, not Vailam. Ilam. That spelling doesn't seem to be like that, but doesn't, okay? It is the Ilam. That Ilam is Jada. It is not Chetana. They don't present it as Chetana. They do talk of some rules built into it and all that. The elements of Chetana, they do mention, but essentially it is the Jada. That is the Jadadvaitam, in which Chetana merges in the Jada. But Vedantins do not agree to that. Vedantins say Chetana is never the product of Jada. Jada cannot give rise to Chetana. It is the Chetana which gives rise to Jada. Swami Vivekananda has examined this issue. He said, whatever is subtle becomes the cause and the gross becomes the effect. Between Chetana and Jada, Jada is gross. Therefore, it is the effect. Chetana is the cause. Therefore, now, in Advaita, you resolve the Jada in the Chetana. That is the Chetanam Brahma, is the Jagat Karanam. That is Advaita. Okay? Therefore, when you look at Chetanam Brahma as the sole cause, then that Chetanam Brahma becomes Abhinna Nimittopadhanam Karanam. But if you separate the two, then Maya Shakti Aditi is the Upadana Karanam and Brahma is the Nimitta Karanam. Don't get stuck on all these expressions. Okay? There is always a vivaksha. You should not think that one particular expression is sacrosanct. Not necessary. There is a vivaksha in that. Okay? Vivaksha is the intent. Based on what you wanted to say, you use the expression. Sometimes we say abhinna nimittopadhana. Generally, they say like that. But in the Shastra itself, it is said as upadana only. Okay? And now, so that answers that question. So all the questions about, pending questions are answered. And there is a question, one or two questions about Atma Bodha, we will see. Now come to this verse. So there are calamities in life and there are difficulties in life. Naturally, calamity is the big one, difficulty is a somewhat moderate one. If it is small, you need not bring it into the phalaśrutiḥ of the Aditya Hṛdayam. So there are difficulties in life, kṛchChrēṣu, difficulties. And then there are calamities in life, māpatsu. Generally, the problems of life. Okay? Both are problems only. A calamity is a big problem and a kṛchChrēṣu is a small problem. And then, so in such situations, it is possible to take inspiration from the Aditya Hṛdayam. It is possible. You can take inspiration from the Aditya Hṛdayam. Generally, what people do when there is a difficulty or somewhat more severe, which can be called a calamity, so they search for a shoulder on which they can cry. Instead of, means you want to share with others. The psychologist's advice you share with others. Some of the burden will come down. But then you are transferring some burden to the other person unnecessarily. That is not the right. In psychology, they say like that. Some of the Vedanta people, these acharyas, they bring some psychology into Vedanta. You should understand that God consciousness is not psychology. It is not psychology. You should not confuse God consciousness with psychology. Okay? Therefore, here we are not advising anybody to share the burden of your sorrow with others. Better you don't share your sorrow with others. That is the advice given. Exactly opposite of the popular psychology, I suppose. Okay? And you share your joy with others and keep your sorrow to yourself. So that is the right way to do. Generally, people do what they do. They hide their joy. Hide or they keep to themselves, but share the sorrow. Don't do that. You can share your sorrow with Ishvara. Ishvara will listen. Means you should develop that kind of a God consciousness. Therefore, you can submit your sorrow to Ishvara. So, that is the idea of these phalaśrutiḥ. But in general terms, when there is a problem, small or big, the answer is in the problem. Okay? Generally, people look for the answer away from the problem. But the answer is in the problem. So, how to know the answer? If you understand the problem, the answer is there. Therefore, we come back to our original thinking, original vision, namely understanding. Jnanam is everything. So you have to understand the problem. Then the answer is there. Only that when you understand the problem, it is no more a problem. The problem ceases. All this wisdom comes from the study of Aditya Hṛdayam. Okay? Therefore, I suggest, suppose you see a snake, a poisonous snake. You see. Is there a problem? No. There is no problem. Because you see the snake and you know that it is poisonous, therefore you understand the problem, therefore it is no more a problem. So what do? You know what to do. When you see a poisonous snake, you know what to do. You do not touch it, you go near it, you move away from it, and do something else. Call 911, etc. In this country, 911 is a very special thing. When you dial India from a telephone, now WhatsApp, etc. have come. Earlier we used to dial. And the number for India is 91 plus 91. Therefore, you have to dial first international call 001 91 and then the number of that city. Hyderabad you have to call 40. But 040 is Hyderabad within the country. But outside the country you have to dial 40. And then you have to dial the number of the telephone, 8 numbers. So in this, so many numbers you have to punch, or so many numbers you have to dial like that. By mistake, you do 91, you know. By mistake, you follow it up with one more 1. Then all the other numbers will not be recognized. Even before they are recognized, it already got 911. It forgets the first 2 zeros, and then 1 also it forgets. Then you dial 91. After dialing 91, you should be very cautious not to dial one more 1. But by mistake, instead of dialing 0, you dial one more 1. Then what you dialed earlier is all gone. What you dial later will not be registered, and it will go to 911. You got it? You got this experience. It happens from people who come to America for the first time from India in those days. And then the 911 people come. They come to the ashram. Somebody died like that, and they arrived in a big vehicle and all that. Who called? Who called? Then our persons, they go around. Array, who called 911? Finally, it is understood that it was a wrong call. In this country, it happens like that. But in India, nobody will bother about that. Your call, nobody cares also. Therefore, we are safe there. This kind of mishap will not happen in India. So the point, I have digressed. The point I am making is when you see the problem, see means you understand the problem. It is not a problem anymore. So you move away and 911 will come. Whatever happens, happens. It is not a problem anymore, right? Therefore, you must understand the problem. That is the important thing. And people, what they do, the moment they see the problem, they face the problem, they ask how to solve it. It is like karmanyeva adhikaraste māpatsu kadachana again. Instead of looking at the problem, studying it and understanding it, you want to escape from it, and so you want the solution. Solution is the phalam. So you want a solution. There is no ready-made solution like that. People want ready-made solutions. And they don't find it in the worldly life, therefore they escape. They find religion as an escape route. This is called psychological dependence on the religion. So you try to depend upon the religion to solve your problem. Therefore, the moment you ask how to solve the problem, that moment you have stopped studying the problem or understanding the problem. Therefore, you are seeking the solution, thereby you are escaping from the problem. You are not studying it. Therefore, you will not get a solution. And so when you understand the problem, surely the problem itself will reveal the answer. Okay, now Rama has a problem and he has to examine the problem and he has to respond and he has to win the battle. That is the problem, So instead of examining the problem, just to become depressed and unhappy, that will not solve the problem. Therefore, you relate to that God. You surrender to the God and present the problem before the God, not to escape from the problem, but in order to get the wisdom, the right thinking from God to examine the problem correctly. And in examining the problem, the answer will come. You should not be like a schoolboy taking an examination. The schoolboy, while taking an examination, say mathematics, he reads the problem and looks for answer here and there. Looks up, there is no answer up. Then he tries to peep into the other person's answer sheet, see whether that reveals the answer. There is answer in that problem. He has to read that problem. In our college days, the professor used to say, read the problem a second time. Don't answer it without reading it a second time. Mathematics. Because when you read it a second time, it will start revealing the answer. But instead of reading it a second time, you look around for solution, you won't get it. So you should not be like the schoolboy. So the schoolboy doesn't read the problem carefully. He wants the answer. Therefore, he fails. We should not be like that in difficult situations of life. Therefore, like a good schoolboy, you have to examine the problem. The schoolboy reads the problem slowly, carefully, looking at the problem from all angles. Then he will find the answer. Rather, the answer is there in the problem. Even in physics problems, it is like that. If a problem is given, you see what kind of topic it is. You remember, you know formula physics, F equal to ma, kg equal to half mv square. Like that, you know some formula. So which formula applies to this situation? There are 4 or 5. And when you read it, you will know which formula applies. Kinetic energy he is talking about, so it is half mv square. So put the formula on the paper and look at the problem one more time. What are the parameters that are given there? Put them in the place, you will have the answer. It is that simple. Therefore, you have to follow the problem itself and not look for an answer. How to kill Ravana? Rama should not look for that answer, some particular formula for killing Ravana. He has to follow the problem. Now he has to prepare himself for the battle, take the bow and arrows and astra, missiles, etc., and estimate, understand the enemy as much as you can, and then follow it up with a movement, one after the other. Then the answer will come. Therefore, I tell you, it may sound a bit odd, to look for an answer is not to understand the problem. The very looking for an answer is not to understand the problem. If you do not understand the problem, there is no answer to the problem. Therefore, if you have a problem, your instant response is that you are looking for the answer, which means you want to run away from the problem itself. That is how it works. Okay? Therefore, people are generally more concerned about the answer without studying the problem. That is how people are. Okay? Therefore, Rama has to face the problem correctly with understanding. That is all Agastya is going to say. So that is first part. Second part, you do your duty by surrendering to the higher power. That is the second part. Okay, that is the phalaśrutiḥ. Now I am examining the first part. There are questions also that came in email about problems. And so they assume that I have the solution for that problem. I cannot have the solution. You will have the solution. Because you are facing the problem, you study the problem, you will have the solution. Suppose you fight with your spouse and ask me for the solution, that is a problem, and ask me for a solution. I don't have a solution. And the gurus won't tell. They say, we have the solution, come to us. Like that. They are bluffing. Or they are believing something and they will push that belief to you. That may not solve the problem. Therefore, the problem, you have to, why are you fighting with your spouse? You examine that. Why are you fighting? She or he, the spouse is wrong. Maybe you are also wrong. So you first redress your mistake and then see how the problem will develop. Like that you have to work out how a third person will have the solution. Therefore, people have this issue. So when you understand the problem entirely, that you have to do that. By studying the problem, you have to understand it entirely. When you do that, the problem ceases to be a problem immediately. And it is suggested that extraordinary awareness dissolves the problem. The mind becomes restless. That doesn't solve the problem. When you are aware of the problem, then the mind becomes quiet. Then the problem will find an answer. I suggest you experiment with this. In your life's problems, you experiment with this. Study the problem, examine the problem, be entirely awareful of the problem and see whether it will solve, whether it will reveal the answer. So, because when you examine the problem very clearly, distinctly, perfectly, the problem gets resolved. That happens. So generally, the mind doesn't face the problem. For example, you have an issue with your boss. You tend you blame the boss and don't find out what are the problems that, what are the mistakes that you yourself are committing. See all the mistakes of the boss, fail to see the good points of the boss, and then look around for a solution. Sometimes the solution, you feel that changing the problem, job is the solution. It will not be solution. You will have another boss who can be worse than this boss. And people in marriage, they change the partner, assuming that the other partner will be better than this partner. You are mistaken. It doesn't work like that. Change of job, change of partner, it will not solve the problem. You are escaping from the problem. Best thing is, you face the problem. I can suggest the mind constantly avoids facing the problem. It doesn't want to face the problem. Thereby, it increases the problem. Suppose you find ECG somewhat amiss, some peaks, etc. are amiss. Then you want quick solutions and you start running around and to this doctor, second opinion, third opinion, and then this god, that god, heart problem, which devata, which graha, which... So like that, if you look at it, you are increasing the problem. On the other hand, you sit with a physician and examine the thing that is missing there, or the problem, what is it, you examine it, it will reveal itself very smoothly. Just to take a pill for a few days, it will be solved. Need not even worry about it. So just I gave some example. When you see clearly the problem without distortion, you see the problem clearly without distortion, then you will find that the problem itself has an answer. But you decide the answer beforehand and you want that answer. That doesn't work like that. You have an agenda for everything. For the problem answer also you have an agenda. I want this. My son is appearing for the exam. He doesn't read properly. He will be running here, there and there. And he has to pass the exam in first class. How will I get it? And some guru tells, I have a puja, and by doing that, it will be resolved. Sometimes we see this more in India. You see, people who have problems in this country, they come to this country in the first place. Why did you come here? You could have stayed in India. Because greener pastures are here, therefore you come here. And when you come here, stay here. Why do you want to come back to India all the time? Just because there are flights. Unnecessarily 7 oceans they cross and travel from here to there, from there to here. Some marriage of a brother-in-law's daughter is getting married. Why should you go to that marriage? Just because you have money and there are flights and the airlines people give miles, and so you, for the sake of miles, you fly. What a silly thing to do. So you come to India. And then you have a problem, you want that problem to be solved in India. You have a fight with your spouse, and that you want to solve in India. In India, we have a gentleman who advertises on the TV channel every day that he has the solution for all the problems. And the solution is homa with chilies. Pratyangira homa with chilies. And so you go to him and present your problem. Just for an appointment, he will take 2,500 rupees. So here they have a son who has some character of autism, etc. Hint of autism is there. And therefore they come to Hyderabad. And there this gentleman is advertising every day. And so they go, 2,500 is not big money for them, $30, $32. Therefore, they give $2,500 to him, and he will give appointment for that. And in that appointment, he told, I will do a homa. It will cost 25,000. Then your boy's autism may go away. How it will go away? How? They asked my advice. You already wasted 2,500. Don't waste that 25,000. You go back. First of all, you go back. America is a good country for autism problem. In India, we don't have it. Whereas in America, it seems to be more prevalent and they have solution. And you surrender to Ishvara, that is also there. Understand what is surrender. The topic I will come later. But first, study the problem. If you examine the problem correctly, it may not be a problem. Because the boy is not disabled, he is differently abled. And the society finds a way to utilize his services. And you don't have a blueprint of life for the young boy, in which way the boy's life can become meaningful and joyous. So that way you examine the problem, don't try to run away. That is the solution. So first go back to from where you have come, and there consult the people around, surrender to Ishvara, don't look for solution, and study the problem itself. That is the advice, that is the right advice. If I give that advice, I am not a Swami. I have to tell a mantra, then I am a Swami. This is how people are. Very sad. Suppose your son is a 30-year-old and he is not behaving properly. That problem, how to solve, Swamiji? Now how Swamiji will know? So problems people have and solutions Swami has. That thinking is wrong or not? So Swami will not have solution because Swami doesn't have problem. Therefore he will not have solution. You have problem. Therefore you have solution with you. You have solution with you. Why don't we see it? Because you don't examine the problem properly. Therefore, Swami will not have problem. If your son is misbehaving or not behaving properly, he is not doing things properly, then first of all, you step back from the problem. Don't identify with the son and through son with the problem. First, don't identify. You step back from the problem and ask your son to live separately. Don't live with him, or you move out and you live separately. And now you examine whether your son is open to your suggestion and to your help. If he is open to your suggestion, give it. If he is open to your help, give it. Suppose he is not open to your suggestion and help, move away and stay away. Then a solution will emerge. And surrender to Ishvara. That is always there. That will come later. Therefore, I am examining the psychology of māpatsu kṛchChrēṣu. So, therefore, the problem itself contains the answer. You should also understand one thing clearly. You see, problems of life, to all the problems of life, there are no categorical answers of yes and no. You don't get an answer immediately. Suppose you got knee pain, immediately it has to be pulled out and thrown away. It won't work like that. You learn to live with knee pain and do some physiotherapy. We call it physiotherapy. Here they call it physical therapy. I have discovered recently. So in India they call it physiotherapy. That sounds nice. Physical therapy doesn't sound so nice for me at least. So go to physical therapy and take advice and then live with it, endure it. When you start enduring, no, I am limping, good, you continue to limp. That is also a way of walking. Because by limping, the pain is less. If you want to walk straight, the pain will be more. Limp. And gradually the limp also will disappear. Find an answer within the problem. Take advice from a correct person. That is a part of the solution. Consulting a physician is part of the examination of the problem only. And a physician doesn't have a solution. Physician only has an understanding of the problem. Okay? Physician takes X-ray and looks at it. And you are looking at your knee through the X-ray, through the eyes of the physician. And he will give the description. This is how it is. Now the problem is revealed. How the solution is revealed. How it is revealed? By examining the problem, the solution is revealed. Therefore, you don't go to physician for a solution. You please understand it. You go to a physician for examining the problem more thoroughly, more professionally. That is what you do. That's why when you go to the physician, he will look at your problem through X-ray. He is examining the problem on your behalf. And he will give the result of examination to you. Then you will understand the problem better. That will reveal the solution. And the solution is physical therapy, which is coming from the problem itself. Don't you see that? Therefore, for some of the problems of life, there are no categorical yes or no answers. You don't find them. So I am saying again and again, the problem itself contains the answer. The answer is not away from the problem. Therefore, our whole focus must be how to study the problem, examine the problem clearly and properly. So, and one more thing, you have to understand that every problem is created by the mind. Mind is the culprit. When it is not a problem, it converts it into a problem. When it is not a big problem, the mind converts it into a big problem. Suppose the son failed an exam, that is not a big problem. It is a small problem, and the answer is there in that. But mind magnifies it as a big problem. So today evening I am spending time on this problem psychology, because that is what is being discussed here. And also I have one or two questions. I don't want to read the questions. Already in a brief way I have told the questions. So the answer also will be there to those questions. You see, you create a life based on wrong values. And that produces a variety of problems. For example, food. You give a wrong value to food. And during the youth and the middle age, you create a system of food based on wrong values. And that will heap a variety of problems on your head for the rest of the life. So stop creating problems for yourself. And similarly, other things also, other things of life. I'm not articulating because it doesn't sound all the time nice. Therefore, you are creating problems for yourself by pursuing wrong values in life. These wrong values in life create misery. So, therefore, the mind and its mistakes or its impurities and the wrong values put in place by the mind are the source of all kinds of problems. People misuse the mind. They don't use it properly. Mind and intellect, if you properly use it, you can live a kind of a quality life in the old age. But in the middle age and in the youth, you misuse the mind and intellect, then the old age you will have all kinds of problems. Therefore, the problems are at different levels, at the physical level, at the psychological level, and they are interrelated also. So the physiological problem, whatever physiological problem you have, some health issue or whatever, it is related to psychological problem. And physiological and psychological both are related to spiritual problem. For example, you divide people. You say, we divide people. You pursue dualism, like fragmentary thinking or divisive thinking. And because of divisive thinking, you have hatred and attachment. You have friends and foes. People want samadhi. They don't need samadhi. What they need is samadhi. That is what they need. Vidya vinaya sampanne brahmane gavihastini shunichaiva shvapakecha pandita samabuddhayaha. Buddhi is dhi. Samabuddhi, which is samadhi. That is what you need. So remove this dirgham from A and put it to E. Take samadhi, remove that dirgham from A, make it A, and put dirgham to E. E. So samadhi, make it samadhi. Gita doesn't teach samadhi. Gita teaches samadhi. So you live in dualism, segregation, fragmentary thinking, divisive thinking, thereby create or hold enemies and friends in your consciousness, and react one way with the enemies and react another way with the friends. This is how, that is the spiritual problem. Got the point? That is a spiritual problem. Means spiritually you are false. And therefore your mind is filled with all kinds of restlessness, psychological problem. And therefore your body becomes sick. All kinds of neurological issues are likely to come up in due course of time. Now you see how they are connected. Dualism, divisive thinking, fragmentary thinking, that is a spiritual problem, messes up the psyche, which is reflected in the physical body. They are all interrelated. You have to understand that. Why Rama has to fight Ravana? Because he ran after the golden deer. Suppose he did not covet the golden... Sita cursed herself many times. I created all the problems by asking Rama to bring that golden deer. Why do I need golden deer? So like that. That is how we live in the world. We create all kinds of problems and then curse boss or curse God, curse the spouse or the family member, curse parents. This is the problem in America. They curse the parents. Childhood problem. Childhood problem means who is responsible for that? Parents are responsible. They have, I think, I don't know what Freud said. I did not study Freud. But from Freud, childhood problem. So somebody is addicted to drugs because of the childhood problem. What childhood problem? We lived like donkeys in childhood. All the childhood problems of life should have been with us, but they are not there. We are living all right, managing life with good friends like you. I don't see any childhood problems. In the childhood, our parents did not take care of us the way you expect. We lived like donkeys, I tell you. Who will take care of a donkey? Nobody takes care of a donkey. It takes care of itself, including the food. In the Gurukulam, we go without food sometimes. And so you don't go next week when you meet the mother, oh mother, I did not have food that day. You don't tell like that. Mother asks, how is the food? Great. So it is wrong to blame father. Childhood problem means nobody has mother problem generally. Everybody has father problem only. Father, why do you blame father? Father is not a rishi. I am not saying father is sacrosanct. But you don't blame the father. Father is, so somebody is addicted to drugs. Why? Because of the father. Childhood. And some of the Vedantins also enter into it. These Vedantins should understand that they should stop being teaching psychology. Vedanta is not psychology. Vedanta is God consciousness, not psychology. Psychology, mind is real. So, therefore, these are interrelated. You see, why you have economic problem? Suppose you have economic problem. Credit card problem you have. Why do you have credit card problem? Because of psychological problem. You are a very desiring person. Because of the psychological problem, credit card problem has come. Why there is psychological problem? Because you have a spiritual problem. You don't study Gita properly. You want to solve the economic problem as though it were completely unrelated to psychological problem. It is indeed related to psychological problem. So this effort to solve each of our human problems on its own level, physical problem, you solve all its own level. You have some heart issue, that is physical problem. You want to solve it entirely at the level of cardiology department. It will never work like that. Therefore, when you want to solve a problem at a given level, at that level itself, that leads to catastrophic results. People have to understand. Therefore, this is called departmental thinking. Fragmentary thinking or departmental thinking. All your physical problems have their roots in psychology and in the spiritual muddle-headedness. At the spiritual level, your dumbness creates all kinds of psychological and physical problems. Why are you fighting with your daughter-in-law? Because you are spiritually bankrupt. You should love your daughter-in-law. Therefore, this is departmental thinking. So, you see, the human existence is a total thing it is. It is an organic whole. It's a total process. It is not a conglomeration of many unrelated processes at different levels. It is not so. Therefore, all the levels, the different levels are interrelated. And now I will say one more thing. A problem is a problem only when you are searching for a solution. Suppose you don't search for a solution, it is not a problem. Really. Suppose you have less money, and so that is a problem. When you try to make more money, right? And then you ask the question, is it less money or is it some money? It is some money, not less money. And I will manage things within the available means. Then there is no problem. Then there is no problem. You followed that? No, my spouse is creating problem to me. Okay, what problem he or she is creating? Let us say she, for a change, for example purpose, my wife is creating problem to me. What problem she is creating? So she is not preparing breakfast for me. Okay, you prepare yourself. Or you eat on the way. And bless her, let us take some rest. Why do you give so much importance to your tummy and your body and your comfort? Give importance to her aspiration. She has some aspiration. That's why she is not able to serve you the way you desire. Don't desire. Don't expect. You serve her. No, she is not pressing my feet when I am tired, when I have problem in the feet. Samvahanam it is called. She is not pressing my feet. Doesn't matter. You go and press her feet. That will make her very loving you, no? You do that service. Pada samvahanam, you do to her. That's why you should be spiritually very elevated. Then there will be no problem. When you are spiritually bankrupt, then all possible problems. Also, we live our life, daily life is a series of contradictions. And that is how we live. We talk of peace, but we are spoiling for a fight. We talk of good health, but we are eating that leads to bad health. We want to be happy. We do everything in our power to create unhappiness. Therefore, So, there is only one way of solving the problems of life. That is a revolution in thought. You don't want to change the thought. Without that revolution, that problem cannot be solved. So a father came to me. I have a serious problem, Swamiji, whatever, you please help. How can I help? I cannot help. If it is a physical problem, you have to go to a doctor. I don't have any talismans with me. No, you please listen to me. Okay, you tell. My son wants to marry a Filipino girl. Then I said, what is the problem in that? Is the girl good looking? Yes. Age-wise is okay? Yes. Perfect. Because sometimes the son wants to marry a lady with 2 children. This is better than that. This is a very funny world, it is. Therefore, what is the problem in that? No, we are traditional people. Go and sit on the tree. Traditional people. What do you mean by traditional people? People create problems and they want a little modification here and there. I told him, with your consciousness, you cannot solve this problem. You will suffer whole life. You bring your consciousness to the level which I am suggesting. Samadhi, Samabuddhi, all are our children. He is marrying a young girl whom he loved. What more you want? He is faithful to a young girl and he has promised that he loves her and he is wanting to marry her. He is doing a dharma and you want to put spokes in it? That is your problem, your consciousness problem. You have to bring your consciousness to that higher level. Then there is no problem. You will bless them. Therefore, then one more thing people have to understand. You should never pursue a wrong means even when the end is right. Never ever justify the means by showing the good end. You live like that, many of the problems of life can be solved. So I have used this verse as an opportunity to discuss about problems. So then, so you have to kāntārēṣu bhayēṣu cha. Kāntārēṣu means you find yourself in troubled waters or in difficult situation. Kāntara is a forest. Okay. Suppose you find yourself in a forest, lost the way. How will you solve that problem? Only 2 ways. One, you surrender to that higher power. Because things happen. And you surrender to that higher power, that surrender thing I will come. And now, presently, because you have lost your way in the forest, you be totally alert. Just be alert, totally alert. You will find the way out. Once I lost my way in the forest, in Nilagiri forest in South India. Then how to come out of the, because you don't know, within the forest you don't know any direction, nothing. And it is cloudy and the sun also cannot help. Then I stood there. Don't go this way, that way, because you will be going in circles and get tired easily. So I understood that, no, don't move this side, that side. Stand where you are and be totally alert. Then I noticed that some sound of water moving I heard. And then I tried to understand from which side it is coming. It is coming from the left side. So that must be a stream or a river. I knew some geography. So the river is this side. The road must be this side. Let me give a try. I moved 10 feet in that direction and stood there and waited. Then I heard the roar of a motor. I am in the right direction. And the stream sound is coming less, and the motor sound came near. And I moved another 20 feet this time and waited. Now the motor sound came much better. Then I moved in the direction and came to the road. And already my friends, they were looking for me. They were going up and down on a motor car. So they found me there. And I sat in the car and went. Just I gave you an example. When you find yourself in a forest, the only way to come out of that difficult situation is by becoming totally alert. Full alertness will take you out of, that is only an example, physical example. Full alertness, that word came, that's why I gave this example. Kāntārēṣu, Kāntara is a forest. And in life also we have such problems. And therefore, when you become totally alert, fully alert, and that means you are aware of what all is going on with reference to that issue, that problem, then that will reveal the solution. That is how you will find yourself out of problems. Then there is the thing of fear. We will see this. So when you face these problems, you be alert. And you understand what all is said about the problems. And now you hand over the problem to Bhagavan. This is God consciousness, you know. Be aware of the God and be conscious of God. That is the bhakti. That is the bhakti. That is the real upasana. And therefore, so the higher power, which is in the form of the solar orb before us, so you please surrender yourself to that. And you chant or you recite the Aditya Hṛdayam and get inspired from that. Kīrtayan. Kīrtayan is recollecting and saying those verses with understanding. That is what Kīrtayan. In modern times, the word Kīrtayan was given a wrong meaning. Kīrtayan means गाना बजाना. That is the meaning given. गाना बजाना से क्या होता है भाई? Just because you chant something with harmony and tabla, nothing is going to happen. Harmony and tabla will not solve your problem, you know. In fact, they will distract. They become a distract. This harmony tabla is not for they are not for philosophers, you know. They are for worldly people. Therefore, leave them alone. Because the word kīrtayan is misrepresented like that. And therefore, everybody goes with the musical instruments, goes after music and musical instruments, and then chant the name of God. Now, what happened? Where is the focus? Is it on self-surrender? It is not on self-surrender. It is on the names, which are the words. Word is not the thing. The words. And the words have to be strung together to fit into a composition. And that composition should be either Mohana Raga or Kalyana Raga or Aditala, Marotala. It must be that. And then it must be associated with violin and tabla and harmony. Ye kya baat hai? Is that the way to face life? Is that the way to relate to God? Just by Gana Bajana, you want to amuse God and get all the benefits from God? What do you think of God? God is the innermost self. So the word Kīrtayan should not be misrepresented. I have to say this. Otherwise, now what will happen? The music people will start singing Aditya Hṛdayam. You name it, they will start singing it. Saundarya Lahari, somebody starts singing it. Shivananda Lahari, somebody else will start singing it. It is not about singing and all that. It is about understanding and dissolving that me and mine space. Surrendering. That is what is called Kīrtayan. And any person who follows the principles which are said here, in which you examine the problem, that was the primary topic of today's class discussion. And then it is supported by Sharanagati, which we will come. Bhayēṣu cha is still pending. Such a person who is alert, aware, and humble, has humility in his heart. He knows how to worship mentally the Bhagavan. That is the meaning of kīrtayan. Mental worship he has in him, that devotion he has in him. Such a person will never come to grief. Nāvaśīdati rāghava. Raghava means the scion of the clan of Raghu. Raghu was a great king. He lived like this. And you are born in that clan. So you should be eligible to be called the scion of the clan of Raghus. You should behove that status. That is the idea of addressing as Raghava. Okay, O Raghava, puruṣaḥ kaśchinnāvaśīdati raghava. Then bhayēṣu cha, that is pending. Fear. Why there is fear in life? Bhaya is fear. And there are a few varieties in the fear. Worry, anxiety are fear only. We treat them at the same level. Insecurity. You add three things to the fear. So, if you add these three things to the fear, that becomes one unitary movement of thought. Okay? Anxiety, people are anxious. The low level of anxiety is always there. And sometimes anxiety becomes more severe, then you have to go to a physician. Then this kind of discussion won't help. You have to go to a physician, and then they will advise. This is useful for normally abnormal people. Okay? This is not useful for abnormally abnormal people. They have to go to a physician. So the insecurity, the fear, the low level of anxiety, and worry about future, they are all very same movement of thought. And you can get a leverage over that movement of thought and get out of those qualities, those problems. They are all problems, you know. And Aditya Hṛdayam will certainly help you. Because in Aditya Hṛdayam, you move from world consciousness to God consciousness. The moment you move from world consciousness to God consciousness, you become free. Free of all kinds of imagined responsibilities. Once you understand the responsibility as imagined by an ignorant mind, and in God consciousness, you are free from that ignorance, from that sense of responsibility and all that. Then you become free. You will not be anxious anymore. For example, you are responsible for the children that you give birth to. Only in this much. Give them food till they can earn their food. Help them to clean themselves till they can clean themselves. Give clothing to them till they can clothe themselves. And help them in getting educated till they become, they attain the age of maturity. So children, childhood and adolescence, till they get to that age, your duty to provide these basic things of survival to them and give protection also. That they become sick, then give medicine, that kind of protection, and protection from the elements and all that, dress this and that. That is the duty, and you have to do your duty. You are not responsible for their welfare. What kind of life they are going to lead, you are not responsible for that. But if you feel that you are responsible, you are stuck with fear, anxiety, worry, and insecurity. Therefore, understanding is very critical in every stage. Why there is fear in people's life? You have to understand a few things here. Fear is it arises from thought. Thought is the origin of fear. Thought breeds fear. That is the word. Therefore, you should not look for causes of fear outside. All fear originates in thought. Once you understand that, when you experience worry or fear, then you will examine the thought. So you are examining rightly, and you will find an answer there. I don't call it a solution, I call it answer. Maybe one and the same, whatever name you give to it, you will find the answer there. So thought breeds or generates fear. That is the first understanding. How thought generates fear? Now you can understand. Thought is always looking into the future. That is how it generates fear. Suppose you are aged 60, you will be looking, how will I be at 70 age? And you become afraid. You will not know how will you be at age 70. You are looking at your son, 20 years old. How he will be after 25 years? You feel, then you will become afraid, anxious. Suppose you are looking at your unmarried son. What kind of marriage he will have in future? You will become anxious. We don't know what kind of marriage he will have. He too doesn't know. Then who knows? Nobody knows. In this creation, nobody knows. Because the future is utterly unpredictable. Therefore, a thing that is not known, not knowable, why do you think of it? And you have an agenda for it. This is how I describe it. Parents have a blueprint for this life of their children. My son, my daughter, this is how they should lead their lives. You made a blueprint already, how they should get married, how many children they have to get, and what children, male children, female children, everything you have filled in all the gaps. And that blueprint you keep there. And every day look at that blueprint and look at the guy. He never fits into this blueprint. And therefore you become worried, anxious, insecure, afraid. This is one reason for fear, that you always peep into the future. You should not try to peep into the future. You know why? Because there is no such thing as future in this creation. So why should you peep? If there is something, you can peep at it. If there is nothing, you are unnecessarily peeping and thereby creating enormous insecurity for yourself. So bhayēṣu cha. The rest of it I have finished. Bhayēṣu cha also I have described. Tomorrow we will take it forward. Aditya Hṛdayam is over. Did you notice that? I am only doing phalaśrutiḥ. I will be able to finish whatever I finish, that is the finish. I will read the verses, that is the finish. Because phalaśrutiḥ, you know. Let us say that verse and conclude the class. Ena māpatsu kṛchChrēṣu kāntārēṣu bhayēṣu ca kīrtayan puruṣaḥ kaśchinnāvaśīdati rāghava. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam